Meet Gnembon, a Java developer at Mojang who has been responsible for a lot of things, including the Garden Awakening drop, the April Fool's Potato update, Skull Catalyst, and more. So he decided to do an interview with the YouTuber Minecraft Teach Me. It turned out that Gnembon is from Poland, as well as Teach Me, so they cooperated and recorded an interview where Gnembon gave a lot of interesting answers. I watched it all and choose the most interesting and important questions and answers. In the description, as always, there is a link to the originals. Subscribe and here we go. When will be end update? This is probably the most popular question among the whole community, and as expected, the answer is very simple: as soon as possible. Everything gets prioritized. First, they look at what needs to be fixed, where they can give resources, meaning people, and later they allocated them to different teams to implement new features. End update are not priority for now. You know what the most important thing I've noticed? Maybe it makes some sense. The studio does a real lot of research before adding anything to the game, like they did with the bundles. If the achievement stats are to be believed, on Bedrock Minecraft only 5% of players were able to get to the end, and 4% killed the Ender Dragon, but only 1% of players revived the Ender Dragon. The biggest complaint for Bedrock players was that it was very difficult to kill Dragon on the phone. It's true, fighting the Dragon even on PC is difficult, so perhaps the developers are looking in this direction before prioritizing updates, or perhaps they are already doing it. About this we will talk further in this video. Do the developers come up with the content? No, they just implement it. It is game designers who do the thinking. They first come up with ideas, create various concept arts, and send the idea to developers, and they just do their job. But if they don't like something, they can report it. There's a certain structure of people, a team that decides what will be in the update. Simple developers have no influence on what will appear in the game, but you can always suggest something. For example, Gnembon did not like the fact that Spore Blossom non-renewable block. That is, it appears only in Lush Caves, and that's it. It's the only block from the Lush Caves that can be renewed. So he gave his feedback that this block should be made renewable. It was accepted, and that's all. All we have to do is wait. But so far, silence. The same goes for the holidays. With the start of the winter vacation, developers have as much as almost 3 weeks of vacation. The first game snapshot for the spring drop was developed before the holidays, but the last one, in which there are new types of cows and fireflies already this year. That's why several of the snapshots were technical without obvious new features. Is it worth waiting for 4 drops per year, 1 each for 1 quarter? About the drops, there will be as many as there are drops as needed. 4 drops for each quarter is just what it might look like. If there's too much content to fit into 1 drop, they can cut it out and save it for the next drop, and then do it with another drop and piece by piece cut and paste into the next drop. Or conversely, combine 2 drops into 1 and make it bigger so it doesn't have to be set aside for later. Then instead of 4 drops, it might only come out to 2. Hard to say, but apparently different development teams make different drops. Gnembon said that if one team can finish an update in time, then developers from another team can come up to their aid. At least there are 2 development teams for sure. His team was developing the Garden Awakening drop, but he is not developing the Spring drop. Another team is working on it, and he in turn is already working on the Summer drop. The name is not official yet, but judging by the old leaks, it will have such a technical name. In theory, we can say that there are 3 teams working on the drops right now, each of which develops its own drop. The team that developed the drop is fully responsible for it, for fixing bugs, and when the process comes to an end, their team is redirected to create a new update. This is why the developers have no rush and studio has time to analyze. The team is peacefully creating a future update so that at the upcoming Minecraft Live they can even showcase not only the summer drop but also the fall drop. Apparently, judging by the Gnembon's veiled answers, there is still a 4th team. They are working on that massive update. They conditionally have 2 or 3 years in reserve to make a gorgeous and polished update, which can overshadow all the drops. Perhaps it can be that very end update. That's why only quarterly drops are waiting for us on that very leak until 2027. Again, I point out that this is just my rambling from my head. How it will actually play out, we have yet to find out. Why did the developers abandon the previous release of updates? The main problem with the annual updates was that they were annual. It was necessary to release an update in the summer, and moreover to think about and develop an update for the next year, which should already be shown on Minecraft Live. And the updates should be large and thematic, because they are released once a year. For example, for the Tricky Trails update only the structure was designed, and that was too small for an annual update, so some new features were thought up to justify a one-year update. Gnembon even mentioned the Caves and Cliffs update that was split into two parts. He explicitly said that it shouldn't have been split into two, but rather kept one massive update, but gave it more time. Instead of 1 year to give it 2, then it would have released full and polished. It was because they made a lot of promises about the content and didn't always deliver, they decided to move away from the concept one massive update once a year. Instead, small drops but more frequent. But he also makes no secret of the fact that drops were invented precisely to keep the game popular. After all, snapshots weren't stable, could cause problems with worlds, and were only created to test new features. Because of this, about 90% of players did not play snapshots. They were only interested in a small part of the community. Because of this, the popularity around Minecraft was decreasing, and such a decision, let's say, killed two birds with one stone. Updates came out more often, the popularity of the game does not fall, and because of the fact that they are small, you cannot worry about not copying with the promises. They don't want to show or somehow announce anything that isn't 100% ready yet. So if anything is going to be on Minecraft Live, it's only something that is ready and definitely won't be changed. The developers only had 3 or 4 months to create Pale Garden update. That is, for such a period they were able to make roughly speaking a drop from scratch. How are bug fixes resolved? It's simple. First, bugs that require immediate intervention are fixed, and then every developer who has free time can take any bug and fix it. After the bug is fixed, it is checked by other people to see if it works correctly, how well it is written, and then it goes into the main code, and the bug tracker automatically closes the task. So when bug fixes happen and tasks on the bug tracker are closed, it doesn't mean that there will be a snapshot or beta release this week. It is all individual. Why are the April Fool's snapshots so massive? As it turns out, it's because this version doesn't need to be ported. When they add something new to Minecraft, they try to think about what it is going to be like for years to come. It's even mentioned in the Jab's book. When mods are created, they are mostly just for the Java version, and often they can ignore something from the vanilla game. They don't have to look at what has been or will be created. This mod is not going to show up on Bedrock. Don't forget the Bedrock is on console, on iOS, Android, and so on, where it all has to be optimized for different devices and control systems. On top of that, it has to come out simultaneously on all devices on the same day. The April Fool snapshots don't need to be ported. They are only created for the one platform, Java. They will not appear further. It is the content that was created for this update, and not the ideas themselves, such as coal blocks or resin. They still appear in the full game. Therefore, the developers give themselves full freedom of action. But sometimes there are problems. Because the April Fool's Potato update was not tested for the macOS computers, so the update just crashed and it had to be fixed immediately. Gnembon makes a good point. They treat the April Fool's updates more like a mod. There is no need to fix bugs. It is a version for once because it will not need to support it further and create something new for it. It is a complete flight of fancy of the developers, not the media team. After all, it is the developers who think up all the ideas. How big is the Stockholm office? The main office in Sweden has about 200 people. I would like to point out that only a small part of these people are engaged in updating the vanilla game, but the developers realized that they still need more people to do their work. What about the leaks? If we talk about the leaks that are on the Mojang side, these are the ones where there were leaks about the name of the new biome. Then they take all the responsibility. This is not done on purpose, but accidentally. Just articles are written a few days before publication. But if we talk about those leaks where directly showed how the biome will look like, and so on, it's definitely not them. This is very frustrating and very much demotivates the whole team. After all, them, because of the leaks, do not get a moment of wow effect and surprise for the fanbase. Of course, for the player it is interesting, but from the marketing side, it is harmful and has unpleasant consequences. Canceling the mob vote. What will happen instead? In the article where they told us about the cancellation of the mob vote, we were told that there will be something interesting instead of the old vote. The developers themselves do not understand what they are talking about. After all, these articles are written not by them, but by the marketing department. I don't understand why it was written. But again, the developers are mostly bound by the non-disclosure agreement. Gnembon may know what they are talking about, but in order to avoid any legal problems, he said he doesn't know, or he just really doesn't know. How will the problem with numbering of updates and drops be solved? The problem with the numbering of drops drops is still present. That is, a major update used to be labeled with the last two numbers, 1.20, 1.19 and so on. Now we only have 1.21.3, 1.21.4 and 1.21.5, the spring drop. This is very confusing for older players and players in general who don't know much. After all, before the third digit meant the version of hotfixes. Mostly in these versions were not major changes, only bug fixes that required immediate solution. The developers know this problem. They realized it themselves and they know how to solve it. But Gnembon can't give an answer to this question yet. Not because he doesn't know, but because he just can't tell. I think it will be known already at the new Minecraft Live, which will be held sometime in March, but there is no exact information yet. They want to make it so that on Java and Bedrock, all these update numbers will be unified. Will there be focus on experiments? Yes, they still exist. The latest ones are changed in minecarts and trading with the villagers, and the oldest ones are Jeb's combat snapshots. But the truth is that he made them himself in his free time, and at that time he was still the director of Vanilla. So what Gnembon is saying is that in practice, they should look at the players' reaction, collect their feedback, and then do something about it. Take them out of the game and say that the experiment failed, or take them out of the experiments and introduce them into the full game. But in all experiments, the decision is not made by the developers, but by the company itself, and the company decides what to do. How does Mojang handle criticism? It's very complicated. Developers can influence it in any way. That is, if it concerns some criticism that is related to the game, for example a bug, it's in their power to fix it. After all, it is a part of their work. But as for criticism like Mojang are lazy, they make small updates, it's not up for them. Developers go to work and create only what they are told to create. We talk about this at the very beginning of the video. That is, for such criticism should already be responsible studio and more part of the company that owns it, Microsoft. Developers try to approach any criticism wisely, even if it hurts them in some way. Why didn't they add Tuff and Copper Golem? As Gnembon said, when updates are developed, all decisions are held specifically with the team that will implement it in the game. He was asked why in the Trail Chamber, which appeared in the update 1.21, did not add Copper and Tuff Golems, because the whole structure consists of blocks from which these mobs are created. On what he replied, I don't know, I did not do this update. This once again confirms that the developers cannot somehow influence every update and add to the game what they want. Will there be a Minecraft Marketplace on Java? The Minecraft Marketplace will not appear for the Java edition of the game, as it just doesn't fit there. It doesn't not even fit in the concept of the fanbase of the game itself, and in general it is not necessary. So you can sleep easy. No one plans to add it to the game, or Gnembon just doesn't know, but I think such things are discussed with everyone, because it would fundamentally change the game. Although there is a kind of marketplace for realms, but everything is free there. Everyone can upload there their own map or minigame, and if it passes moderation, the map will appear for realms and you can get unique cape and a free realms. Will Java be closed? Absolutely not. That's the dumbest question you can ask. It's one thing to make mistakes with a promise, but it's another thing to put yourself in a way and shut down the development of this edition of the game. Java and Bedrock can exist in the same time and they are handled by completely different teams. Even more, I will say, first the content is developed in Java and later is roughly ported to the Bedrock. They are exceptions, and something appears on Bedrock earlier, as it was with gods, but there are reasons for that. Will Illusionaire appear in the game? This is extremely complicated. The answer is always a vague. It will appear in the game when it is needed. Just as Zombie Horse was added for the some experiment, Illusionaire was added to the game for a specific purpose. So you could say that if these two mobs were to appear now, they would be in experimental section. Okay, the interview turned out to be pretty interesting. I'm glad the developers can afford to come in and talk a little bit about their job. It's always interesting, especially to look behind the scenes of Minecraft development, to learn how they create new updates. Although in any case, you won't be able to find out any super secrets. Every developer signs an NDA for that. So far, 2 videos out of 3 have been released, but as far as I understand, the third final video will be released somewhere in the middle of February, and it will be questions from viewers. If there will be something interesting, I will make a video. While you are waiting for the new video, I advise you to watch these, they are also very interesting. Subscribe to this channel, put thumbs up and click on the bell. We'll hear from you again because we are discovering Minecraft in a new way.